There are people all over towns, all over this country who have been working overtime to try to stop him from executing on this agenda. If she turns out to be one of them, a spectacle is warranted so other people will stop doing it.
I appreciate, Scott, you saying if she turns out to be one of them, because I think
it
is very much something that we will see what happens in this case. But
that's Republican strategist and CNN truth teller Scott Jennings reminding America that activist judges like Hannah Dugan aren't above the law, especially when they put their personal politics above their duty to the Constitution. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like establishment media is doing what it does best, melting down over one of their own being held accountable. Because the recent arrest of Judge Hannah Dugan seems to have Democrats scrambling to defend the indefensible. Thankfully, Scott Jennings is here to point out the obvious. If you subvert the law to protect illegal aliens, don't expect to walk away without consequences. Here's Jennings laying out why this arrest was necessary to the dismay of his CNN co-host.
You have the right to get an arrest warrant and you have the right to get a summons. And that they got an arrest warrant for a judge shows that they wanted to make this a spectacle. Last point I want to make is I presented to a grand jury and indicted a state prosecutor. I indicted a prosecutor. And I got a summons because I didn't want to make a spectacle. They made a spectacle of this case.
They announced it on X as well, and then deleted it, but announced it on X.
Why wouldn't you want to make a spectacle of it? I mean, the fact of the matter is, there are liberal Democrat elected officials, not all judges, some are mayors and others, all over this country who have said repeatedly since Donald Trump became the president that they would like to obstruct his principles and his program when it comes to deporting illegal immigrants. Here you have this person. If these facts are proven true, obviously that's exactly what she was trying to do here. Why wouldn't you want to make...
Let me respond to that.
Why? Because
you asked me a question, let me respond.
Well, let me tell you my view. The spectacle is important because a message has to be sent to everybody else. We're not going to put up... You've been elected by people to uphold the law, and some of the laws that have been most flagrantly violated in this country are immigration laws. You've got to get on board with upholding all the laws, not just the ones you like.
Let me respond, Scott.
Here's the reason.
Kash Patel is head of the FBI.
You said you had to...
It's an embarrassment.
Let me just respond to something you said.
Go ahead.
Which is that you said, well, you got to worry about the impact on the community.
Yes.
The president and the Justice Department and his people have to worry about the impact of illegal immigration on the country because nobody's been worried about that for years. And the reason this is important is because this is one of Donald Trump's biggest criminal justice priorities, and frankly, it's one of the American people's biggest priorities to control this.
The pearl clutching over this judge's arrest is downright laughable, because suddenly the same people who spent Trump's first term screaming that the entire justice system was rigged now want us to believe that judges are sacred, impartial beings beyond reproach. And as Jennings expertly points out here, the real threat to democracy isn't coming from Trump or ICE or his DOJ, it's from liberal activist judges who think they're above the law. And he's absolutely right about sending a message, because this isn't about targeting a specific judge, it's about reminding the judiciary that they don't get a pass just because they wear a robe and lean left. Here's Pam Bondi laying out the facts of this case and underscoring Jennings' point about accountability.
So rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're not going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow. You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
we are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
In fact, you know, it's nice to see Bondi stepping up to the plate, clarifying what happened, and dropping a truth bomb like this. Because here's the reality. This judge didn't just let someone go. She allegedly used a restricted jury exit to help an illegal alien, accused of domestic violence, by the way, evade ICE agents who were lawfully present. And despite what the left says, this isn't just bad judgment, it's a direct attack on law and order, and intended to obstruct Trump's agenda at all costs. And more importantly, it's the same liberal hypocrisy we've seen time and time again to protect criminals, defy federal immigration laws, and then cry foul whenever there are consequences. Dugan's defenders in the media and on the left want you to believe that this is some kind of authoritarian overreach, but what it really is a long overdue stand against a judiciary that's been infiltrated by progressive ideology and rogue activism. And if that isn't clear enough for the left, Bondi put it pretty plainly. Obstruct justice, harbor fugitives, and you will be persecuted. And frankly, it's about time. But let me know what you think. Should more activist judges be held accountable like Dugan, or will the media keep spinning this into another sob story? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.